Alright, so I have my thing laid out. 12 inches, I'm going to use a quarter and a penny. For the quarter, I'm going to mark it with this blue marker right here, and for the penny, I'm going to mark it with this red. And I'm going to record 2 of the 10 trials for each coin. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Oh, that was really bad. Okay, so that is about that much. Let's see how much. So if that is alright, I'll write back after I measure that. Alright, so that's where it ended up, about 4.75 inches, if I did that correctly. Yep, about 4.75 inches from the target. So we'll do trial number 2. Oh, not bad. Alright, I'll be right back when I measured it. So I just measured it and it came out to be about 11.25 inches. Only about 0.75 inches that I had left from the target. So I'll finish up the trials with the quarter and then we'll move on to the penny. Okay, so I just finished up all my trials for the quarter and now we'll do the penny. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Alright. So I know the middle of this X right here is already going to be 12 inches. So if let me just give you so if I measure it from there, I'll be right back after I'm done. Alright, so trial 1 for the penny measured out to be about 13.5 inches, so about 1.5 inches overshot of the target. So just try to reduce the bumps, and then we'll do trial 2. Oh, not that bad. Okay. I will measure this and be right back. Alright, so trial 2 for the penny ended up being around 11 inches. So only 1 inch away from the target. Alright, I'll finish up the rest of the penny trials. Alright, so this is the end result of my penny trial. Okay, so the first discussion question was, what was your constant error and variable error? So for my large coin, the quarter, the constant error was negative 2.4 and the variable error rounded to, let's say, 3 decimal points was 2.419. And then for the penny, the small coin, my constant error was 0.275, and then my variable error was about 1.783. Okay, and so the second question asks, what does your constant error and variable error suggest about your performance? When looking at both coins, for my large coin, for my quarter, on average, I tended to undershoot about 2.4 inches because my constant error is negative 2.4. And then for my penny, for my small coin, on average, I tended to overshoot about 2.75 inches. Okay, and the second part of that question asking about variable error. So my variable error for my large coin was 2.4 roughly, and my variable error for my small coin was 1.7. So when comparing the two, my large coin had a wider variability, so my larger coin was more inconsistent at hitting its target, and the smaller coin had a smaller variability, a less wide variability compared to the large coin, meaning compared to the quarter, so the large coin, the small coin or the penny was more or less inconsistent in hitting its target. The third question asks, do your error calculations make sense based on the spray of your attempts? Why or why not? I would say they do make sense, because when looking at the large coin, the constant error said that it tended to undershoot, and when I look at the physical paper that's on the floor down there, I can see that the majority of the little marks on the paper for the large coin was below the target. As for the small coin, I had a positive constant error, so I tended to overshoot it, and I could definitely see that. Also, with the variable error, the large coin had a wider variability, so it was more inconsistent. And looking at it, the spread is a lot wider compared to the small coin spread. The small coin had less variability, so it was less inconsistent, if that makes sense. So, in looking at the paper, this spread is a lot less than the large coin. So yes, I would say that my error calculations make sense based on the spray of my attempts. All right, and lastly, reflecting on how I changed my performance from one trial to the next. So the quarter was the first coin that I used. It was the first trial, first everything, and you can see that the very first attempt that I made to get it to the target was very undershot. I didn't really want to fling it across the room, so I was very hesitant to use any sort of force, and that showed in the lack of distance that it covered. So then in the second trial, I recruited more muscle fibers in my fingers to get it further, and I did get it closer to the target. And so just while I was doing the quarter trial, I just really paid attention on maintaining that level of force. Now, it wasn't always accurate since the variability was very wide, but I mean, it was my first attempt, like with the coin. And then with the penny, I tended to overshoot it, so I had to do the opposite. I had to start recruiting less muscle fibers, and my reasoning is I probably was just used to the weight of the quarter compared to the penny. The penny was exponentially lighter than the quarter, so I was using the same amount of force that I was for the quarter with the penny, and so I had to dial it back to then get the penny closer to the target without completely just throwing it off the paper. So yeah, I didn't use any sort of self-talk, but I would, before I would flick the coin, just really try and focus on how the force felt that got the coin closest to the target, to try and then recreate that force to the best of my ability, to the best of my skill.